Wow, there's already 7 people in here. You guys are awesome. What's going on? Let me get everything a little bit. Man, turn it down a little bit. There we go. If I don't, everything looks really good. Some type of a studio light in here. So, hey, what's going on, man? How's everybody doing? Let me get everybody on here. Man, you guys are getting on quick. Mid Alabama Bassin. What's up, man? Andrew, how's it going? Chris, Joshua. Y'all gonna have to excuse me tonight. I ate way too much. We had a little fun little Pinewood Derby with my Cub Scouts tonight. And I ate hot dogs, which I probably shouldn't have, but I got there and realized I didn't eat lunch today. So I got a little bit of acid reflux, which sucks. Harley, what'd you ask? Gene, I just finished my first year of college with an 8-pound bass. But what did your grades do? That's awesome, man. Congratulations. John Bolton says, I'm officially in love with kayak fishing after today. That's awesome. Man, it's just different. Kayak fishing is, I love my boat. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my Alumacraft. I was in it yesterday and the day before. I was going to be in it today, but I decided I was going to plow a garden. I've got a 100-foot by 50-foot garden I put in today. I'm going to finish it up tomorrow. But anyway, I love my boat. But man, there's something about getting on those little pieces of plastic and paddling around and catching fish, just ways that you couldn't do it in a boat, because the boat is a little noisy with the trolling motor and stuff. It's crazy. But I'm going to let a few more people get on here. I'm going to make some announcements before I start answering questions. So just hang in there, Andrew Rutherford. Gene has a green thumb. I grew up, explain that one while people are jumping on, is I grew up in a family of 8 children in the 80s, and the recession in the 80s just about killed us. And so we were not very wealthy. And to save money, my dad, we grew a garden. And we were in a neighborhood, and we'd have people thinking we were growing pot and stuff in the backyard, but we'd have everything, tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, corn, a whole bunch of stuff in the garden. So I grew up knowing how to plant a garden and just love it. I love fresh tomatoes. I love okra. I love all the fresh vegetables that you can grow in a garden. So I've been having 8 acres here, been wanting to put in a garden. So I borrowed a tractor today with my brother-in-law's tiller and went to work and put in a garden. I got a new tripod, so it's going to be kind of hard. But I kind of want to show you guys some of the stuff that's going on with my website. All right, we're going to go through it real quick. For right now, the first page is basically. How's that? Is that better? Weak, weak. Oh, come on, guys. All right, we're back. Good. That's awesome. That's all I wanted to see. But anyway, we'll try this again. So we got a bunch of new shirts. I also have the sunglasses I wear, the Nines sunglasses. There's a whole, everything Nines makes is in the website. There's the new cups. They were supposed to drop the price. I don't know if they have yet. They were supposed to drop it to $30. You can buy 13 fishing rods and reels. Just a bunch of cool stuff. You buy a 13 rod, you get a little rod sock, fishing tools, Seagar line, Bass Mafia storage boxes, just a whole bunch of stuff. So go check out the website. It's flukemastr.com. That's my shameless plug for today. But the glasses are awesome. Those Nines are, I did not expect them for being less than $100 to be very good. But dude, they are awesome. They're plastic lenses, and I kind of like glass ones, but the plastic ones are shatterproof. So they are safety rated, but there's no like bending of the light through the lenses on the side, so I don't get a headache, which I did through a lot of the other even more expensive sunglasses. So that's kind of why I recommend Nine sunglasses. I'm not sponsored by them. I just asked them if I could put their stuff on my site so I could sell what I use, and they were all for it. Great guys, though. I may end up getting a sponsorship by them, but that's not even in the works. So I just one of those things. I just want to look out for you guys and show you guys some really cool stuff. How do they compare to Costas? Costas are more scratch proof. They're also $100 more, but still Costas still get that flex or that bending of the light just a little bit. They're better, but these, man, I'd put them on. I was like, are you kidding me? These are great. Anyway, so those are nines. At less than $100, you can bet they're, it's a pretty good deal. All right, let's talk bass fishing. Gene, is there any way to buy old T-shirts of the month club shirts? You can. I'm having a hard time getting a hold of them. They owe me about 3 months worth of money, and for some reason they're not returning phone calls or emails or anything. I can't get them to respond to me, so I'm not promoting Fishing Shirt of the Month Club. Although I am, it is half mine. I don't understand it. Don't really have a lot of time to push it. But if you're a member of Fishing Shirt of the Month Club, just go into the members only section and you can buy past shirts. Not all of them, but some of them. So, Biggs asked, have I ever used a digital chip Japanese baitcaster? I have. I don't think they're all that. They make a weird noise, but that's the chip working. They cast a mile though. Let's see. Ryan Gibbs, have fun tomorrow, man. Let's see. Have you ever fly fished for bass with a fly? I have. I used poppers. I used a couple of different things, some streamers, and it was pretty fun. It was on a private lake, though. There were tons of bass in it. See, John Treywick, plan on hitting the water Sunday in Gunnersville. Hope to find. Let me lock that tripod down. Hope to find some good spots for upcoming tournaments. Concentrate up on the north end for right now. That should be pretty good, unless they've already spawned out. So, let's find a good question. What's up, Gene? Fishing big bass on the hill tomorrow. See if I can win a boat. That should be good. I hear the Clark's Hill is up in the bushes, and if they're spawning, they're going to be on those bushes that have all of the limbs in the water. I always found that when they were up in the bushes and they were spawning on it, those are the ones they like to be on. So just flip to those bushes, and you should be able to catch some. Fluke, what's your go-to spring lure you recommend? A chatterbait and a lipless crankbait. Ryan Gibbs tried JJ's Magic for the first time last weekend and love it. Yeah, man, that's the real deal. I know it's kind of crazy. Kevin, man, hit me up tonight. I tried to get you to call me last night after your live deal with Ben, but hit me up tonight. I'm going to be coming your way, not next week, but the week after next. Might want to see if you want to go hit Lake X. Have you fished Pickwick Lake, and what are your thoughts? I love Pickwick. I haven't fished it there. Fished there in probably about 6 years, but I found a spot while I was there that I caught 165 plus fish without moving the boat in 2 days. Well, I did move the boat to go home, but I came back to the same spot. But they were pulling water real hard, and there was a specific situational thing. Fishing Southwest Georgia lakes, you follow Oliver Harding. You fish the shores, docks elsewhere in mid-May. Yes, that's what I would do. They'd be shallow. Water temps have been crazy everywhere. That's for sure. All right, Chris Goff, thanks for the $10, man. You're awesome. What's your thoughts on the Origin A combo at Academy? Just canceled my mystery tackle box today and started a shirt of the month. That's cool. The Origin A's are really good for the price. There's a lot of plastic parts, a lot more than what I'm used to with the 13 fishing stuff. But my only complaint that I've heard, and I kind of agree, is it doesn't feel like a 13 fishing reel. The reason is the knobs are really small. The handles are really, or the grips. They're just small. It doesn't feel like a 13 fishing reel, but it's a good reel. I've been using one for almost a year now, and it hasn't given me any issues. I don't use it for heavy stuff though. I won't use it for a swim bait. I just have bad luck with cheaper reels or inexpensive reels with big heavy stuff. I haven't fished Sharon Harris. Hi, Gene, what is the absolute best fish finder for a yak? I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody when they're looking for fish finders. Get one that at least has mapping, has down imaging, and has regular sonar. And then get one that has the largest screen that you can afford and put that on a kayak. I have a 7-inch HDS carbon from Lowrance. That's what I use. But like I said, it depends on what you can afford. And and then the bigger the screen, just the more detail you see on the down imaging. Do you make head? I don't understand that one. Where would you suggest fishing at Lake Lanier? I don't know, man. I don't fish Lake Lanier this time of the year. The bass should be up spawning, or at least back up in the shallow pockets. Best size paddle tail swim bait right now. I just throw a 5 inch. Everybody, if you're asking questions, Kevin's on the Baitman TV is also asking, helping me answer stuff. He owns a tackle shop at Kentucky Lake, so he knows his stuff. What's your favorite fish to catch? Mine is bass and bass and muskie. Mine's bass. I don't fish. There's no muskie around here, so I'd like to get up north into Tennessee and catch some though. Best baits for fishing beds. I'm in pressured lakes. I did a video yesterday about it. I've got a couple of little clips I've got to finish up tomorrow, and then it's going to post probably early next week if I can get it done, or mid next week. My editor's out of town, but and it talks about a system, a series of baits that you use to catch bedding fish. My Instagram, I showed a nice 5 pounder that I caught off the bed yesterday during that video, and I was using this system that I learned from Justin Lucas at a Bass University seminar. So, Stefan, what's going on, man? He's got that ASA BFA high school deal. That's 400 anglers. That's awesome, man. Best bait for bedding fish, pressured lake. You already asked that question. A lizard and a small little creature bait is what I use. What do you think about the Hook 2 by Lowrance? I'm excited about it, Gabe, because it's a very dumbed down version of a good fish finder. I just haven't used it yet, so I can't give you a complete rundown on it. But I'm excited at least about the concept. Grant Henderson, how you doing, brother? How's your kids? Good to see you, man. Just moved no Wi-Fi at my house. Walked a mile and a half to watch the stream. Ethan, come on, man. You got to do all that. Best frog in color. My favorite frog is a Spro frog in that color that has the yellow bottom. It looks like a frog on the top, but I always make sure it's got a yellow bottom. And then the other one I like is the straight black one. No, the black one with the little yellow stripes. I'm going kayak fishing in New Jersey, and baits and lures you think would this time of the year in New Jersey. Man, I'd use a fluke. Really, I would. And just work the banks. They should be moving shallow by now. Gene, did you see my photo I sent you on Facebook Messenger yesterday? John, I saw a bunch of photos. I probably looked at yours. I get about 100 Facebook messages every day, and about twice that many on Instagram. So I just try to run through them. Sometimes I get a chance to respond. Sometimes I don't. It still says $39.99 for the tumbler. Okay, y'all just hang on there. We're probably having trouble with the suppliers bringing the price down. I agree. I think 40 is just too much for that thing. It is a nice tumbler, though. Don't get me wrong. It holds ice forever. I love the lid on it too. So I mean, it's worth 40 bucks. I just wouldn't spend 40 bucks on it. Fishing and I make money on it. Fishing a tournament in June, stomping. What would you throw? I don't know. Fishing it just all depends on the conditions. June's one of those months you can throw anything. How do I know when to look for beds on the shore? Typically, bass will pull up to spawn when the water temperature gets into the high 50s, low 60s, all the way up into the 70s, and it pretty much stays there. They're going to move up. You'll start seeing bare patches on the bank that are they just look out of place, and there'll be like a male bass right in the middle of it, a small male. That's when you know. Mid-South fishing stained water. What lures do you suggest? Stained water. I hope you watched that video I launched yesterday, or day before yesterday, on colors. Stained water. I would probably throw anything from a green pumpkin to a black and blue jig, or green pumpkin, black and blue soft plastic. What's up? Let's see. Question: Yamamoto, Seiko, or razor shads with chatterbait? Either. I use the razor shads because they're not as expensive. I also use paddle tail swim baits, and I use Rage Menaces. Rage Menace is probably my favorite, and I either turn it one way or the other depending. Straight up and down like this, in line with the hook if I'm trying to replicate a bluegill or imitate a bluegill. The other one's a crawfish. Whoa, you guys are donating money. That's awesome. Jeremy Conyers, what's the most effective way to fish a very heavily silted, shallow lake that also very stained this time of year? Spinner baits, white and chartreuse with a large blade or a small Colorado blade. A large willow leaf or a small Colorado blade is what I would throw. Or a smaller one, a small spinner bait. If they got small fish in it, go with a small spinner bait. Alex Galvin, thanks for the $10, man. Oh, and Jeremy, thanks for the $5. I'm in the market for a kayak. I have my eyes on the Bonafide SS127, but they just released the 107. Which should I buy? I live in Chattanooga, and the main lakes I fish is Chickamauga Lake and Gunnersville. Get the 127 if you fish large lakes. The 107, I'm going to hopefully pick one up on Tuesday. But the 107 is going to be an excellent river boat. It's going to be a good small pond boat, one that just bounce from all over the place, throw it up on the top of your car and go. It is going to be as stable as the 127, so it's not a stability issue. It's just a matter of the 127 will handle the bigger water a little bit better. So at least in my opinion, it will. There's a good question. Motostash, how to prevent fluorocarbon from coiling. It's going to coil. It's just how bad is it coil? If you buy the cheap fluorocarbon, it's going to coil worse than the more expensive stuff. I use a Brazex by Seaguar. I used to use, and I still to a point use Invisex from Seaguar. I've used Invisex from Seaguar since 2005. And what you do is when you first put it on the spool, what I would do is I'd take the spool that it comes off of, put it in hot water for a few minutes, and reel it onto your line from that hot water if you're worried about that. But it's just something you have to deal with. And like I said, the more expensive stuff, the better it is. Let's see. Anthony Quick, can I get away with using a rotating accident worm on a Texas rig? I bought them. You probably can, man. I don't see any reason why not. Do you still use that sinking braid? No, I don't. Just because it is $40 a spool or something. The price has gone up, and it's really not that durable. But it does sink, and that's the give and take. The sinking braids are not that durable, so you kind of have to deal with that. But it was a really good line. It's just hard to find, and it's expensive. Chris Goff, thanks for the $10. He says, let's say you are using a pegged craw and want to switch to a jig on the same rod. Can you slide the peg? Yes, I do it all the time, man. Slide the peg up a foot or so. I slide it up, tie the jig on, and slide it back down to the jig. You can probably go back and forth as many times as that peg holds up, really. I do that all the time, and I totally agree with you. I'd do it. I want my first kayak. I need something under $200. What do you suggest? Go to Academy, go to Walmart, go anywhere that sells a $200 kayak and buy a $200 kayak that has rod holders and go fishing, dude. You do get what you pay for, but I always say get what you can afford and go fish in it. And get a good paddle too. $200 for the kayak, but don't be afraid to spend $75 to $100 on a paddle, because the paddle can make or break you, especially if it flexes too much. It can be really bad. Shout out to my sons, Ethan, please. Hey, Ethan, what's going on, man? I guess your daddy loves you. I live in Marietta, Georgia, and was wondering what to throw right now. Marietta. I use creature baits a lot right now in that area, especially if you're fishing Lake Altoona. Small creature baits flipped up on the points. What are the best starting lures? I started 3 weeks ago. Go watch my video on your first tackle box. I did a whole series of beginning videos. I'm still working on them. I've got a playlist that I just put together today for beginner fishermen on my YouTube channel. Just go watch that, dude. And seriously, if you've only been fishing for 3 weeks, I've got a ton of information in there that will get you started on the right foot. Do you still run braid with leaders very often? Yes, I do. I need to make a list of what I use and what I don't and do a video about it, because a lot of it has changed over the years, but I still have about 3/4 of my rods all have braid on them. How long after the spawn will bass be active again? About 3 or 4 days after they move off the beds. Where in the water column will they be? They actually will go back, start heading back out towards the main lake points and stuff like that, stopping on secondary points all the way up. What's a good paddle, Gene? Like I said, you get what you pay for. I won't buy one under $75. The bending branches paddles are the ones I use. They were the original fishing paddles for kayaks, and they displace a lot of water, so it's really, or they move a lot of water, so they're really good paddles. Boy, a lot of people just commented all at once. I'm sorry, guys, if I miss your comments. You guys are awesome. My crankbaits keep getting their back treble hooks caught in the line when I cast. Any tips? Are you must be using braid because that's typically what happens. With braided line. And when I'm throwing crankbaits, I throw it on either full fluorocarbon or good long fluorocarbon leader. What I would do is, if you're not doing that, is I'd change to a smaller treble hook. Have you seen any infinity water? That infinity water? No, I have not. What's water's warming, beer's cooling? Come on Sunday, Saturday. That's awesome. Stephen Walden or Stephen Walden. Hey, Stephen. Any boat changes for Alumacraft? Alumacraft came out with a 20-foot with a 200 horse that goes about 60 miles an hour this year. Hopefully, my next boat will be that one. I'm going to go talk to them in a few months. But yeah, it's a really good boat. I'm kind of excited about the new Mercury motor. I'm gonna take a look at it. I don't know what I'm gonna get on the next boat, but yeah, it's that's what's new on their end. They really are focusing a lot on the bass fishing stuff. That's why they want me to come up and have a chat with them and figure out where they need to go and what they need to do next. Pennsylvania does not allow people to target bass on beds during the spawn. Any tips for spawn fishing while not attacking beds? Dude, I just go fish the banks. Just go fish shallow water with a creature bait, and just don't sight fish. I don't like to sight fish, to be honest with you. I did a video about it. I caught 2 fish. That may be the only 2 fish I catch off the bed this year. I like to pull out fish for those deeper fish that may or may not be spawning, fish points and things like that, and you catch bigger fish that way. At least I do. Oh, Kevin's got a question. He says, all right, Gene, here's a question. When do you throw a Ned versus a Cinco? That's easy. I don't throw Cincos. Um, Actually, I did yesterday, but I like the Strike King Ocho. Um, Steven, did you say something about triangle? Oh, single live wells. Yes, the live well's bigger too. Lots bigger. When do you throw a Ned rig? I throw a Ned rig whenever I need finesse fish on hard bottom. And stuff like that. At Cinco, I rarely ever throw it unless it's this time of the year. I'm skipping docks with it. I'm just not a believer that that's an end all lure, and I hate fishing them. Best bait for fishing a road bed in 15 feet of water: a deep diving crankbait, 5 or 6XD. Is exactly a 3 to 5 foot visibility, water temp 58. Yep, I'd still throw a deep diving crankbait, and I know Kevin would agree with me right now. What are the best starter bass lures? Jacob, go watch my video that I made about your first tackle box, but I'll kind of give you a rundown. Texas rig worm, a spinner bait, and a shaky head, and then that's what I would start with. So, yeah, Kevin says he agrees 100%. Is Altoona Lake in spawn right now? It should be at the end of its spawn, if I remember correctly. I haven't fished it in many years, but with the conditions that have been going on right now, they could be at the end of their last or next to last spawn. Let's see. Watching from Fresno, California. Thanks for the knowledge. Keep teaching. Thanks, Hector. Appreciate it. Recommend for an all-around spinning rod. A 7 foot, 7'3" medium action spinning rod is probably what I would go with for an all-around spinning rod. Medium heavy if you only fish heavier baits, but with those 1/4 ounce and less, a medium would work just fine. I get to test out some new 13 reels and stuff like that are coming out. I can't say what and show them or anything else, but they got some cool stuff coming out. But the spinning reels, just get a decent one. Krista says David needs some prayers. He's going out for Oakley Big Bass tomorrow on on Clark's Hill. Good deal, good deal. I hope nobody cheats on that one. I think the guy last year, or the year before last, cheated. I could almost guarantee it. Does my fishing shirt of the month still help you? I have not been paid by them for 3 months, and I can't get a hold of them to figure out what's going on. Nobody's answering texts or calls or anything else, so I'm probably going to dump them like a bad habit. I think that's what they want me to do, but I'm gonna have to get some stuff, figure out why they're not paying me. So no, it does not help me anymore. Going to my website and buying T-shirts and that kind of stuff helps me a lot. Um, Raymond, thanks, man, and thanks for the $10. Alex, thanks for $10. This is for all the advice in your videos. I've learned so much from watching. It's only $10, but thanks so much. Thanks, man. You're awesome. And keep up the amazing work. Heading to Lake of the Ozarks tomorrow. Gene, you ever going to do a video there? I would love to, man. I've always wanted to, ever since I was in basic training out that way. Definitely want to go out there and fish that. Let's see. Is that too bad? That's no way to run a business. Yeah, dude. Ever since they started doing stuff with the Googans and stuff like that, I have not been able to get a hold of anybody. So I don't know what their deal is, but we'll see. Seth Wilcox, I finally did my first MTB Slam today, and it only took me about an hour. Learned a lot from you. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Um, any plans on coming back to Idaho? Hopefully. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure what my West Coast swing is going to be this year or where I'm going. What advice would you give a beginner kayak angler getting out on a big lake? Make the lake small. Fish a couple of coves right there close to the boat ramp. Just kind of take your time. Don't try to go across anything big. And have an orange flag if there's boats on the lake. And always, always, always wear your PFD. Mark Springer, basic training. What was my MOS? I was a 13 Foxtrot. I was a 91 Papa and a 91 Bravo. So I was an X-ray tech and a field medic. And I went to basic training in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. What are your favorite swim bait heads? I've got several different kind. Greenfish Tackle just came out with some small ones. I haven't tested them yet, but they look really, really nice. But I really don't have any favorite ones. I like to try new ones all the time. Whew. Let's see. Depth zones for 3/8, half, and 3/4 ounce chatterbaits. 3/8 I throw most of the time. Deepest I'll throw to the barbie about 7 feet, 6 or 7 feet. Half ounce, anything deeper than that. 3/4 ounce I've never throw. I just don't fish that deep. I'd rather throw with throw a crankbait down below 12 feet deep. So, yeah, I'm gonna need to take some Tums after this. How come I can never get my crankbait to hardly dive even when the floor? I don't know, man. I'd have to see how you're doing it. Let's see. Is Megabass worth their price points? Sometimes. I haven't fished all of their stuff. I know their crankbaits are really good. I've always fished Strike King crankbaits just because they're inexpensive, easy to find, and I know everything I need to know about them to be able to catch fish on them. So, do you ever use rattles on your flukes? No. I sometimes will put weight in them right behind the hook at a certain angle that causes the fluke to fall horizontal and flutter as it goes down like that. It's one of those videos you guys may never see. You may have to figure it out yourself. It's one of those little secret things I do. So, Krista says, Buckeye, baby. Yeah, man. John's one of my good buds. Always has been. Yes, depending on what you're looking. Oh, that's Kevin's answering a question. Thanks, Kevin. Any collaborations coming with Lake Ford guy? Lake Ford guy. Oops, typo. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm going to do some. I've got a collaborative coming with Tyler's Real Fishing. Matter of fact, I've got a video I shot just before the Classic. We're finally done editing. It'll launch this next week, and then I'm actually fishing with Tyler's Real Fishing this next week. Alex Rudd lives right up the road, not too far away from me. We're about Chickamauga's halfway between our houses. So we're going to go, I'm going to spend some time up there with him. And I'm just going to do a bunch of them with some good guys. So, Flukemaster, any hope of you launching a physical fishing seminar some weekend? Yes. I have not talked to Chad about it since December, but me and Chad Hoover are going to start doing a traveling type seminar where we just do a few of them. I mean, like one or two a year, maybe three a year. We don't know. We talked about it, and you know, Chad. If anybody knows Chad, he's full of ideas, and some of them happen. So that's I'd love to do that though. I love doing seminars. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate the $10. I got a decent burn last week on the first sunny day in New England. Any good tips on recommendations on sun protection gear? When you buy a buff, okay, this is my biggest pet peeve because I freaking wore my Lucky Tackle Box buff yesterday, and it's just a standard buff. So you burn right if you got a shirt that's got a big collar, you burn right here, and because it doesn't flare out. Get a buff that flares out at the bottom so it covers your neck if you've got a wide collar. Wear long sleeve performance shirts, and you should be set. Sunscreen anywhere else, like the end of your nose or ears. That's what I do. I don't like sunscreen, so I don't put it on anywhere else. Sunglasses and a hat. You know, that's how I do it every single day, man. Hey, that's a good idea, Kevin. Let's talk about that. I love it. S.J. Jones, Jimmy C. Okay, from 13 and I are cool beans. Got to invited to ICAST. Can't wait to see you there, bro. Would love to toss in a line in the water. Cool, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope he pays to get me, or not pays. I hope he gets me into ICAST this year. He always does. I ain't worried about it. When would you throw a space monkey or a rage craw? Craws, I don't know why. I'd much rather throw a rage bug, I guess. I've got probably 15, 20 pounds of rage craws. A space monkey, I just love creature baits this time of the year. Once they get into post spawn and they start to hit top water and crankbaits and stuff like that, I prefer to fish those kind of things. But Kicking Their Bass TV basically lived there his entire life, so he knows that lake really well. What's your go-to lure for bass fishing ponds? My go-to lure for bass fishing ponds is a small, actually a trick worm, a weightless trick worm, a weightless fluke. Typically, small ponds, the bottom is real soft, so I don't fish anything that's on the bottom like a jig or a shaky head. But I love a drop shot. I'll swim a Ned rig, but anything that's on the bottom, I leave alone. So those are the ones I would be using. Um, just caught a 5.5 pound bass. Jacob, congratulations, man. That's awesome. Banjo minnow or the incredible flying lure. Yes, you're banned. Actually, the banjo minnow works. Um, Favorite spinner baits. My favorite spinner bait, and I don't use it very often because it's a big spinner bait, and I like kind of small, compact ones. But it's still my favorite because it lasts a long time, and it really does work good for those big fish. Is the oh my gosh, the Mega Strike, the Strike Back spinnerbait from Mega Strike is what I use. I never can remember their name. I don't know why. John Bolton, what was wrong with your boat motor when you were out with Alex Rudd? Oh, that's a good thing. My boat motor, basically, I blew a seal. I didn't blow the motor. I didn't blow anything else. It's basically a seal blew, and it just oil went everywhere inside the cowling. And basically, when that happens, it's not a good thing, but it's because I probably did not break it in properly, which I don't doubt that at all. I broke it in for the first day, and then I ran it hard from then on out, and I should have taken it easy for at least 5 or 6 more days of fishing. And that happens. And unfortunately, I suffered the consequences and was out without it for almost 2 weeks. But it's fixed, and now I'm taking it really easy because I'm breaking it back in. Um, can you do a smallmouth tips video? I would if I knew more about smallmouth fishing. I don't really know a lot about it, but there's a bunch of YouTubers that do. Um, but Benjamin Nowak is one. He lives up that way, and he fishes smallies all the time. I'd subscribe to his channel. He's about the only one I know that's up there. There's a couple of Canadians that are up there too. Um, Lady Bass is up that way. What is a good rod for jerk baits? Can I use my frogging rod for that? No. A good rod for jerk baits is a medium moderate action rod or a medium heavy moderate action rod. So basically a crankbait rod. I like a medium moderate action rod. It's got to have a lot of flex to it. If you use a big heavy rod like your frog rod, it's going to rip the bait right out of the fish's mouth and straighten the hooks out too. So, um, let's see. Saw your truck at Cable Crossing. How was Chick for You? It was pretty good. I caught two good ones on the bed. I was doing a bed fishing video, and hopefully I'll have that one out within the next week. So, hey Gene, do you ever fish for anything else besides bass? Would love to see you do a video maybe about crappie and walleye or something. Not walleye. I don't do a whole lot. There is walleye right here in this lake down the street from my house, but there's not very many of them. Matter of fact, they want you to call them every time you catch one. But crappie I can, or crappie, whatever you call them. I just got to get to know Weiss a little bit better and get into all of that. I've got all the gear for it. I just love to bass fish, man, and that's what that's what I know the best. That's what I can find the quickest on any lake. But I'd love to do some more crappie fishing videos. I did one a long time ago that's really really good. So. Um, Let's see. Oh, Ohio spawn, smallmouth spawn incoming in Ohio. Any plans? No, no plans to go up that way. I was going to go uh, to Lake Erie this weekend, but I did not. I've got to go to Covington tomorrow, and I had to cancel that trip. So, or I got to go to Covington this weekend. What would you ever consider chartering or guiding? I used to guide. And I don't have time to do it anymore. That's why I make videos so everybody else can watch them. But if I guide, it takes 3 days away from me working and doing videos, and it's hard for me to video while I'm guiding because I want to teach that person, and I don't think about the cameras and I don't think about anything else. So I end up coming out with no videos. So it's just a give and take. Maybe if this YouTube thing doesn't work out, I'll start guiding again. I'll have to get my captain's license though. Um, Found yellow Iserline at Wally World. I saw your comment, Scott. That's awesome, man. I use the gray though, but yellow will work just fine. Daryl, you said at our topwater frog successful outside of hot weather. Topwater is good when the bass are shallow and active. I've caught them in all the way through the fall into early winter on frogs, on any kind of topwater. Like I always say, it depends on the fish. If the fish are shallow and active, what do you do when you throw every hard and soft bait you have and can't get a bite, and some old man with a worm and bobber is catching one after another? Rough day. I grab a Ned rig or a shaky head or a drop shot. I go finesse fishing. I grab ultralight line and I go to town. I got a video I just uploaded and will be out this next week about finesse fishing. How much can I pay you for a guided trip? I don't guide anymore. And if I did, you'd have to pay me about, let's see, what would I price it? Probably $1,500 a day. Oh man. Taking my daughter, don't think I'm serious about that. Taking my daughter out in the morning, first time getting out this year, Kansas, bank fishing. Ideas for bass this time of the year. Um, I'm not sure about Kansas. I don't know what the temperature is. But I always just, if I'm just going out and I just want to catch any fish, I fish small baits. I go finesse fishing. Hey, Fluke, how about the Origin to TX? I have not tried the TX yet, so I'm not sure, but the Origin's a really good reel for the price. Let's see. Make a night fishing video. I'm going to have to make a night fishing video during the day because my cameras don't work in the dark. You can't see anything. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Uh, hey Gene, how do you fish really grassy pond floors? I fish a drop shot and I fish something called a mojo rig or a split shot rig is what I do when I have grassy lakes like that. Thoughts on pelican kayaks? I don't know. I haven't fished in one. I know there's a lot of people who like them though. How do you fish really grassy pond? Already answered that one. Um, Scott says we can spotlight you at night. I know, man, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So, how about chatterbaits for this time of the year? Yes, yes, this time of the year, chatterbaits. I preach it again and again. Lots of chatterbaits. I've gone through a ton of them this year. Thoughts on the PowerPole Micro? I've got one on every kayak, and I love it. I don't go fishing without it unless I know I'm not going to need it, unless I'm going to be offshore the whole day. Then I do 2 anchors. Um, Yeah, Realistic did a night fishing video. It was a black screen with talking. It's exactly what it would be. Oh, and I used to fish night fishing tournaments all the time, man. I love doing it. I just don't do it now that I need to be videoing and have light. Do you ever throw a double Carolina rig? No, I don't. Thanks for an answer. Keep the great videos coming. Thanks, Derek. What size chatterbait do I like? I use a 3/8 most of the time, a half ounce if I've got to go deeper than 6 or 7 feet. Best way to fish a Ned rig when the bottom has a ton of leaf litter. Swim it. Don't, or you can let it sit on the bottom for a second, but swim it just off the bottom is probably my favorite way to do it. I slayed them on this little farm pond last year doing that. Favorite tube? I don't fish tubes. Actually, the only tube I've ever fished is the Strike King coffee tube. That's what I caught my personal best smallmouth on. Um, Let's see. Use chatterbaits where other than grass. Only thing I don't fish chatterbaits in is timber, is wood. Have you ever fished a wacky rig with a bobber over submerged grass? No, I haven't fished a bobber in years. Uh, let's see. Love your Instagram. May the fourth be with you. Post. Yeah, some fan made that video of me holding a lightsaber years ago, and I was like, man, I got that video, or not video, picture, and I had to go searching for it. But yeah, man, that was ideal. What rig do you recommend for a beginner to catch a bass? A Texas rig, Texas rig worm or Texas rig creature bait. Do you shoot archery? Yes, I do. I got a Matthews Outback. I started out with I shot my first 6 deer when I was 12 and 13 years old with a bow. And I shoot archery as much as I possibly can. I just built a range last year for my son. They all shoot recurves. I need to get back into recurve shooting, but built a range right here in the backyard. Um, let's see. Do you still fish Biospawn lures? I do, but I'm not sponsored by them anymore. When I left Mystery Tackle Box because Biospawn is owned by the same company, that was a package deal. So I basically lost that sponsorship as well, which was expected. I miss not being able to promote them. They're good baits, and it's just what it is. Sometimes you get caught up in business, and it really sucks. So their new swim baits are real nice. I had one pack of them and went through them pretty quick. How do you get a lure that's stuck underwater without a lure retriever, or do I just have to cut it off? Depends on what it is and how it's stuck. I use either a little thing called a pocket knocker, which is like a 1 ounce lead weight on a little clip that clips to your line and you run it down and knock it loose. But the best thing is a lure retriever, man. They're worth their weight in gold. I mean, the one I use is about $25 and it pays for itself in 3 crankbaits. So, you just got to get one. Any situations where a Colorado blade spinnerbait would be more effective than a chatterbait? Yes, in muddy water, or just low light conditions, it can be a little bit better. Um, yeah, Colorado blades. You don't even see them at stores anymore, Larry. You really don't. They're hard to find because a lot of people just don't fish them anymore. What is the best concept reel from 13 Fishing? The Z, hands down. Best line in the bass world. There's 2 different line companies. There's Seagar, and then what's the other one that's got really good line? Kevin, you're gonna have to help me with this one. The one that all the other pros use. They either use Seagar or they use crud. I can't remember. I'll tell you in a minute. Hey Gene, do you recommend putting trailers on spinner baits? Yes. I use a split tail trailer most of the time. Sometimes I use a fluke. So somebody says Garden State Bassin says I'm an LTB, a Lucky Tackle Box junkie, man. That's awesome. What's going on, folks? Hey, Precision Angling, how you doing, man? Sunline, right, Jeff? You're correct. Sunline. It's either Seaguar or Sunline are the two best lines on the market right now. I fish Seaguar. I've been fishing Seaguar since 2005. I got sponsored by them last year. I think it was last year, and but that's just because I believe in it so much. So, um, yeah, Sunline, so Shooter and Sniper are really good lines. Help me get a list of spinner baits up. Ray, I'll do a video about that. That's probably the best thing to do because I'd have to hold them up and stuff like that. I only use white or white and chartreuse. I very seldom use anything different unless I'm in super clear water, and then I use a color called Firecracker. When am I coming to North Carolina to fish? I don't know, Nathan. I really don't. Um, let's see. Trying Seaguar for a leader after a bad experience with P-line. Yeah, dude, I used to like P-line, and I don't know what if they changed anything on their line or whatever, but it was not. I've had some bad experiences, not recently, but it was a couple years ago. Um, other than the Whopper Plopper, any other prop baits you recommend? Yes, I use a Whopper Plopper. I use a buzz bait, which is a prop bait, and then there's one that Greenfish Tackle makes, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a dual prop. It's perfect for when the bluegill are spawning and the bass are cruising around the outside of the bluegill beds, eating on bluegill. Um, look up on greenfish.com, greenfishtackle.com. I don't know what their website is, but look that up. It's awesome. I think it's only $15 too. It might be less than that. It might be 12. Gene, what's your thoughts on the new name for the Scouts? P.S. I'm a Boy Scout. I have not paid attention to that at all. I haven't had a chance. I've been busier than a one-arm paper hanger. Gene, what do you think of the Origin C? I just bought one and would love your thoughts. I like it. I wish they had the fat handles like the other 13 reels do, but I've tried to beat the crap out of one. I don't like that it's white, but somebody showed me how to clean one. I thought that once you got them, really stained and nasty, they stayed that way. But you get some some magic eraser, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and you can clean that sucker off. I haven't done it yet to my reel, but this guy showed it to me, and that's incredible. But it's a good reel. It's a good starter reel. It's a good reel that'll last you a long time if you take care of it, oil it, and do a lot of the stuff. So same thing with every other reel. Best color of chatterbait for semi-clear to brown pond. The green pumpkin one, with the black blade are my favorites. When and where is your next planned fishing trip? La Crosse, Wisconsin. Yeah, that reminds me, guys. Let me tell you what's going on. I'm going to the Driftless Sports Convergence in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I've got a seminar there. I'm doing a video there. It's next. It's not this coming Saturday. It is. Let me pull up my calendar. It is the 19th of this month in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So I'm going to be there. Chad Hoover's going to be there. We're going to be having a good time. Going to do meet and greets. We do all kinds of cool stuff. You'll see more and more about it on my social media stuff. That's one thing. And then I've got another thing in Nashville, Tennessee. After that, you guys just pay attention. I'll announce more of that next week. But I'm doing it with an outdoor organization that's really, really cool. So I'll have all that information for you this week. Are you coming to Austin to fish with Tyler's Real Fishing? No, he's coming here this next week, and we're going to find a fish. We're probably going to fish Chickamauga together. So. Have you ever fished a plastic worm inserted into a tube lure? No, I have not. We're going to do this for about 10 more minutes. Can the Texas rig have too big of a weight on it? New to fishing and bait casters ended up with a medium heavy and can't get it to cast very far. If you're fishing it on a medium heavy, get a 3/8 ounce or a 1/2 ounce bullet weight. Those are the two that I would get to start with. If you go any heavier than that, then it's just a little weird. But I would definitely do that, and you'll be just fine. So 3/8 ounce or 1/2 ounce. Chris, thanks for the $5. Tell your boys to check out Twin Oaks Bow Hunters, all traditional archery in Tennessee. Oh, I will, dude. I will. They went on a archery pheasant hunt this fall and wore them out. I think my son Jake shot 12. And Jordan shot a 6. He's only been shooting for about shooting recurves for about 6 months. So I'm a huge proponent in instinct shooting, and so I really have worked hard to, and my father-in-law has too, worked hard to get them to instinct shoot. instead of needing sights and stuff. What's your favorite kayak fishing place in Georgia? The Etowah River, and I also like the Flint River, and I also like the Chattahoochee River. So that Fisher guy, do you still fish ducket rods? No, I haven't fished them in a long time. I'm sponsored by 13 Fishing, have been for about 2.5 years, and been fishing 13s since. And I love them. I believe in those rods. It's not just because they are sponsoring me or anything else. If you guys have known me long enough, I don't give a rat's butt about how much money somebody pays me. I'm still going to tell the truth. My integrity is more important than anything, and that's why I am very picky about my sponsors. If they don't believe in me, if they don't believe in what I do and how I do it, I don't want anything to do with them. Hey, Gene, I'm not having that much luck fishing crankbaits. What things should I change? Slow way down is what I would change, and try to bump those crankbaits off of everything. Rod Royal, thanks for the $10, man. You're awesome. How do you fish plasma tails, and where? I fish them on a shaky head. Plasma tails, the plastic in them is a little stiff, and I found by accident that they don't work really good on your offset worm hooks. They don't. They bunch up, and they don't get out of the way. So fish them on a shaky head. That's what they were designed for. And any kind of a jig head is what I would do to fish with them. So, Derek, how do you fish when you know they are shallow but the wind has the bank blown out? I fish a lipless crankbait is what I fish. Something that I can fish in the wind. Lipless crankbait, a chatterbait, something like that, a moving bait. That way you can feel the bite no matter what. And it makes a lot of noise and vibration. So, Dane Lay says, Yo, Flukemastr, love the videos. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Owen, 8870, come up to North Carolina and thoughts on G. Loomis. I haven't heard anything about G. Loomis in a long time. They were really good before Shimano bought them, and I really haven't paid attention to anything since then. So, and that's been a long time. Hey, Gene, do flukes work in muddy water? No. I've yet to be able to catch a fish on a fluke in muddy water. I tend to use something that's got a little bit of bulk and really dark colors, like a jig or some type of a creature bait. Do snakes ever try getting in on kayaks in swamps? I've never had that problem. I saw 8 snakes in 15 minutes swimming. I chickened out. Yeah, I probably would too. But no, I haven't had that problem. Gators leave me alone too. What do you think of 13TX as a frog reel? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to get a 13TX because I get a question every single week, and I have not used a TX. I haven't even looked to see what's on the inside of it. The only place I saw it was at ICAST last year. Just never. I don't like the color, so I just never thought about getting it. Let's see. Jig rattles. Where do I get them? I get all of those little things that are hard to find. I know that Academy Sports carries them. I don't know about Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops, but Tackle Warehouse is where I buy all that little stuff that it's hard to find. Jeff Holland, man, thanks for the $20, man. You're awesome. Let's see. Tips for finding small John boat pretty cheap. Craigslist is what I would do. Oh, Hunter, I am not the one to ask for tournament strategies, but I'll read your comment. Tournament strategies for a 1,500-acre lake that gets hit by local pressure 7 days a week and multiple tournaments a week. Downsize your line, fish a Ned rig, shaky head, drop shot, and fish slow. But you got to find those fish too. So as soon as you figure out where they're at, come to North Carolina. I will eventually. Hey, Gene, what's your favorite retrieval for lipless cranks in muddy water? The stop and go, 4 or 5 turns real quick and then kill it for a split second. So it's like this. Ooh, that looks weird. Anyway, that's how I do it. Random Adventures, man. Appreciate the $10. You're awesome. Just a little thanks for all the advice. Thanks, Gene. And what's your P.O. box? Oh, man, you're going to ask me to remember my P.O. box. Actually, it's in the description of all my videos. I never can remember what the zip code is on that box. Because it's not my zip code. It's in a different town. Went fishing on a breezy day. What kind of reel do you use? A bait caster or a spinning reel? If you're really good at a bait caster and you're throwing, you can usually do that. If you're throwing light lures and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd use either one. Yeah, P.O. Box 442, Armuchee 30105. Check out Tater Hog Lures. Okay. How do you fish pads with Cincos? I don't. I fish pads with a some type of a flipping bait or with a topwater frog, one of those buzz frogs. Hey Gene, have you ever used the Spro BBZ1 swim baits? I haven't used them in many, many, many years. They're decent. I mean, I think I've caught one fish on them, but I didn't use them for very long. How? Let's see. Where do you get your weights? My tungsten weights, I buy them at Academy Sports or wherever. I prefer the Strike King tungsten weights, um, just because they're easy to find. But I tell you guys, they're expensive. Tungsten's expensive, and one of the smartest things I have done when it comes to that kind of stuff is I set aside $20 a month from my paychecks for years. And whether I needed sinkers or not, I took $20 and went and bought tungsten every single month for like 4 or 5 years. Um, and that's how I acquired all of my tungsten. So, um, is the raised tail craw good? Yes, it is. Really, really good. I got a old video that talks about a rage rig, which is a weighted swim bait hook on a rage tail frog. That's awesome. Hey, Joe Nee, how you doing? How to get better offshore fishing? Oh man, I got a couple of good offshore videos. Let me make some this year now that I'm fishing chick. And I wanted to come up there today and see you and eat at the restaurant, but I had to stay home. Uh, that's a good question. Jules or Jay Wells 5155 asked Gene, best rod for the chatterbait is. Uh, Let me think. I use a 7'3" medium fast action rod for a chatterbait, or you can get by with a 7'4", 7'3" medium moderate action or cranking rod. But I like a medium or medium heavy moderate action. But I like a medium fast. Same one I throw a spinnerbait on. Hey Gene, what's the best baits after it rains? Dude, it just all depends on the fish. Sometimes they turn on and sometimes they turn off. You just have to kind of start over again. But I don't know what best baits to use for them. It just, like I said, just depends on the fish. Raymond, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. It says, hi, my name is Ray. I want to get into bass fishing. I live in Texas, and I heard there's good fishing, just never caught one. Yes, there is. Raymond, go on my channel, on my main page, and then go to my playlist and look for the playlist for beginners and just start watching those videos. I spent a lot of time today putting them in order to make them a little bit more understandable, a little bit more less confusing. Watch them from the first one to the last one, man, and have at it. Just it gets into the bare bones basics, and it's just a good list of videos to get you started. I've been doing this for 11 years now, 8 years of shooting videos on YouTube, and I've taken all of my basic videos and put them into that playlist. So, what are my favorite jerk baits? Man, I've got probably 5 different types of jerk baits that I use. I use some of the old Lucky Craft jerk baits. I use Strike King jerk baits, Spro jerk baits, um, and one more, and I can't remember the name of it, but not very many of those. Is tungsten worth the money? Yes, it's a lot more sensitive. You can feel a lot better with it. It's better for the environment. It's just all around better, and better weight. It's smaller than lead. Gene, if you could take one lure to a weedy lake in April, what lure would it be? I would take a straight-tailed trick worm, 2 different colors, green pumpkin or black, and I would take what I call a mojo rig. It's a little weight that's about 5 inches up, pegged about 5 inches up above a small hook, and that's what I would fish on a weedy lake. You don't catch very many big fish because they break off on you, but I'm using 8-pound fluorocarbon. Would you consider yourself a fishing stud? And if not, then who? Carter, that's hilarious. I love to fish. I am a good fisherman. I have worked years and years trying to figure out how to find them and how to catch them consistently. And then I also found out that I am a absolutely amazing teacher. I love to teach. I love to get down and dirty with the details, and I'm really good at keeping myself at the same level as somebody that I'm teaching. I don't believe in thinking that I'm better than anybody else. I just have a talent and a God-given talent to be able to teach somebody how to fish, and that's what I'm using as my advantage. So there's a lot of people out there on YouTube trying to do what I do. I just believe that I can do it better, and that's me. So, uh, river bass. Whew. I'd still would use crankbait, lipless crankbait, square bill, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to change. That's just my confidence stuff. Iris. Hey, Gene, love your stuff, but I'm going out to favorite spot. Jigs or Cinco. I'm fishing a line of reeds where some dead trees hang and can't decide. I'd take them both, but I'd fish a Cinco more than anything, especially this time of the year and that kind of stuff. Unless you can't get the Cinco in the reeds and then throw the jig on. What's the best bluegill in the grassy pond, Clearwater? I don't understand the question. Sorry, man. Um, why does my crankbait roll to the side? It needs to be adjusted. That's another video I've got on my channel that's like way many years ago. You'll have to go back and look for it. And it's hard to explain it without one, but you grab the little line tie and your needle nose pliers and you barely tweak it to one side or the other until it starts to run straight. It's called tuning a crankbait. So look up the video, how to tune a crankbait, and watch it. And please excuse the horrible quality. Go to Strike King Squarebow. Go to Strike King Squarebow color. The one I tend to pick up the most is a Chartreuse Sexy Shad. The one I want to become my favorite color is the Oyster, or yeah, I think it's called Oyster. It's just a cool white bone color. I want to catch a fish on that so bad I can't even stand it, just because I love the color. What's your go-to hook brand? I love, there's several different brands that I use. Gamakatsu has always been my go-to brand. I've always had them. They make some good ones. And then there's other companies that make certain types of hooks better. Like Mustad makes some really good flipping hooks. So it just all depends on what I'm using for. But, Mustad and Gamakatsu pretty much cover just about everything I like to use. That's a good question. Tennessee Outdoors. Gene, I live in Tennessee close to Kentucky Lake. Is Chickamauga a must-fish lake for Tennessee fishermen, and why? Yes, because it's got big fish in it. It is the first lake I've fished where a 10-inch bass weighed a pound. Now, typically on most any other lakes, a 10-inch bass will weigh about 12 ounces. But add 4 ounces to it. That's how healthy those fish are. I mean, heck, it's where your state record came from. And it was just recent. How important is line visibility in clear water jigging with braid? It just depends on. In clear water, I tend to go to 20-pound fluorocarbon just because I think that'll be better. So, do you use trocar hooks? No, I don't. The reason I don't use trocar hooks because a trocar needle. I worked as an X-ray tech in surgery for many years, and I understand what a trocar needle does. It cuts a hole. So when you put that trocar hook into your soft plastic, it cuts a hole in your soft plastic and makes, after just a short amount of time, it rips a hole in your soft plastic, and the hook just is real easy to come out when you don't want it to come out, and it snags up. That's why I don't like trocar hooks. Their treble hooks are really good, but trocar, that's me. That's the way I feel about them anyway. What best imitates bluegill in grassy ponds? A swim jig. Good question. I'm glad you asked that again, Santiago. That was one I was looking for. Okay, all right, guys. I'm sorry, but I've been doing this for longer than I normally do it. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. But be sure to check out my Flukemastr.com website. Go buy a shirt. I mean, they're freaking awesome. They're not like this cheap quality stuff. They're high quality, really good shirts. Support me that way. And those who donated tonight, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. This next week, I hope to make a bunch of videos, and then see ya.